The Last of Us is probably the most popular show in the world right now, but for obvious reasons, LEGO hasn't done any sets on it. But what if they did? Well, that's the question that I aim to answer today, which is why I made the LEGO Last of Us sets that LEGO didn't want to. And I knew that the first set that I would have to make would be based off of the already iconic clicker scene in the museum from episode 2. So starting off with the figures, here's Joel. He uses the Captain America hairpiece in gray, and he has a serious facial expression as well as a beard. He's wearing a dark tan jacket with a sand blue button-up shirt underneath. He's also wearing some blue jeans as well as black shoes. His accessory is a black gun with a flashlight attached to it, and finally, his alternate facial expression is much more irritated. Next is of course Ellie, and she uses the Ray hairpiece in brown, and she has a somewhat blank facial expression with a cut through her right eyebrow. She's also wearing an olive green jacket with a pink hoodie underneath and a shirt under that. She has dark blue pants and some gray shoes with her socks showing. She has a flashlight which is similar to Lucas's from the Stranger Things set, and finally, her alternate facial expression is irritated, much like Joel. The next figure in the set is Tess, and she has a long brown hairpiece with an irritated and beat up facial expression. She's wearing an olive green jacket with a pink button up shirt underneath, and she's also wearing some dark blue pants with black shoes, and finally her accessory is a black gun. The next couple of minifigures are the clickers, which attacked our trio in episode 2. All the infected that I made in this video have a new mold for their head to represent the cordyceps virus that's infecting them. As you can see, this one is in tan and covers up pretty much all of the head except for its mouth. Moving down to the torso, you can see it's pretty ripped up and gross, and you can even see some of the infection on his stomach. Moving down to the leg piece, as you can see, it's dark gray, and one side is pretty intact and the right side is completely ripped up, and you can see a lot of the infection. The second clicker also has a new mold, and this one is much more bumpy than the first one, and it's also in dark orange, and you can even see some hair sticking out of the bottom. Its mouth is also open a lot wider, revealing some pretty disgusting teeth, a green tongue, and even some blood dripping out. Moving down to the torso, you can see this guy's wearing an olive green shirt, which is in even worse condition than the first one, where almost the entire chest section is ripped off, revealing a ton of fungus growing. Finally, this guy's wearing some dark tan pants with a belt, and his pants are completely torn up, leaving him barefooted. Now for the main build, which like I mentioned earlier is the abandoned museum, and as you can see, it's dark orange and tan with a bunch of plant life and fungus growing all over it. It has a bunch of cracked windows as well as a gray entrance area with some doors that hinge open. The entrance has a light on either side as well as some steps that lead you onto the inside. On the inside of the first floor, you can see a display of what is presumably a model of a historic building of some sort, and next to that is a sign for the gift shop. On the right side, you can see a patch of fungus growing with a clicker hiding inside. Then on the second floor, you can see I've recreated the room where they actually have an encounter with the clickers. You can see in the back of the room is a musket on display, as well as on the right side there is a statue that Joel is hiding behind, and then on the left you can see a model boat on display, and the display has actually been somewhat destroyed. So that's about all for set number 1. So here's the set all together, and here's the box art that I made for it. And as you can see, there's a black background because of course this set would be 18+. The next set is from Joel's house in the first episode, and will depict some of the scenes that take place in this location, as well as the beginnings of the outbreak. And of course, we're gonna start off with the figures. First off, we have Joel's daughter Sarah. As you can see, she has a new custom hairpiece that I made, and it's in dark brown, and she's also got a smiling facial expression. She has a light purple torso with a singer on it, dual molded arms, and light blue mid legs, and her alternative facial expression is very scared. Next is Joel, and as you can see, he looks pretty similar to the one from the first set. However, I've changed the color of his hair and his beard from gray to dark brown because of the 20-year time jump. He's also got a smile on his face, and for his torso, I just gave him a normal gray t-shirt with dual molded arms. He's also wearing light gray pants with gray shoes, and finally, his alternate facial expression is very irritated. The last figure in this set is Nana, who is the first of the infected that we see in the show. I gave her a white hairpiece as well as fungus growing on her face and even some tendrils growing out of her mouth. Then for her outfit, I just gave her some button-up pajamas with some flowers on them. The main build for this set is Joel's house, which as you can see is mostly dark red but also has some masonry bricks as well as a black roof. It has a brown front door with a light next to it as well as some flowers in the front yard. As you walk inside, you'll see the table that Joel and Sarah eat breakfast at in the first episode, upon which sits a plate with an egg on it as well as a cup and a bottle of Tabasco sauce. Then on the right side of the first floor, you can see a brown couch as well as a TV. On the second floor is Sarah's room, and as you can see, she has a bed with some pink sheets as well as a light blue pillow. Then above the bed is a shelf with a bunch of trophies and medals. Then on the left side is a poster for The Clash as well as a white desk, upon which sits a box for the watch that she gets her dad, as well as a comic book, quite possibly from the same series that Ellie reads from in episode 5, and then finally a pink lamp. So here's one last look at the set all together, and here's the box art that I made. Now let's move on to set number 3. The third set that we're going to be taking a look at today is Bill's truck that Joel and Ellie take to Kansas City. And speaking of Joel and Ellie, let's first take a look at their figures. The first figure in this set is once again Joel. However, the next figure is an upgraded version of Ellie to represent her outfit later in the season. The new Ellie figure has the same head, hair, and legs as the first one, with the new part of course being the torso. She's wearing a red t-shirt with some palm trees on it, as well as a gray shirt underneath that, which is represented with some dual molded arms. For her accessories, I gave her the same flashlight as before, as well as the gun that she stole from Bill and Frank's house. The third and final figure in this set is once again one of the infected, and as you can see, it has a giant fungus growing out of its face, as well as an open mouth with some blood coming out. It's wearing a sand green shirt, which has nearly been ripped to shreds, as well as one dual molded arm, and you can also see that it's wearing a dark brown belt with a golden buckle, as well as dark blue jeans and one shoe. The first build for the set is the truck, and as you can see, it has a color palette of sand blue, light gray, as well as dark gray on the bottom. You can see that the hood of the car is made using some different sand blue tiles and slopes, and the front of the car is made using some different circular transparent tiles, as well as some grill pieces in dark gray. The second build for the set is a small tree, which is actually meant to be from the forest around Bill's house, because as you can see, there's a small flick fire missile hidden inside of the tree, which is meant to be one of his booby traps for the infected. One last detail I decided to include in the set is Ellie's pun book, which as you can see, I've made using a purple custom front cover as well as a yellow back cover piece. So here's the set all together, and here's the box art that I made. If LEGO ever did do a theme on The Last of Us, I definitely think they do something like this, because it'd be a great and cheap way to get both of the main characters as well as one of the infected. Now, the last set is based off of Bill's house from episode 3, not only because it was the main set piece of that episode, but because it would be a great way to include some fun play features in the form of Bill's booby traps. So without further ado, let's get started with the figures. First off is Bill, and as you can see, he's using the Obi-Wan Kenobi hairpiece in dark brown, as well as the Santa Claus beard piece in dark brown, which obstructs most of his face, but you can still see that he's raising an eyebrow. He's wearing a light gray shirt as well as dark blue pants and brown shoes, and his accessory is of course one of his many guns. Next is Frank, and he uses the Commissioner Gordon hairpiece from the LEGO Batman movie in gray, and he has a skeptical facial expression with a beard printed on. He's wearing a dark orange plaid button-up shirt as well as dark blue pants and black shoes. The last figure in the set is one of the infected, and as you can see, it's slowly being infected from the right side, because on the right it has a darker skin tone than on the left. Moving on to the first build for the set, which is the gate that surrounded Bill's complex, as well as some of the trees, which are all filled with booby traps for the infected. Starting off on the right, you'll notice that the tree has a flamethrower attached to it, while the gate has a few flickfire missiles as well as a Fedra sign. The middle portion has the actual gate with a keypad, and then the left section has a few stud shooters as well as a tree with a flickfire missile built in. One last side build before we get on to the main build of the set is Frank's strawberry garden, which I thought would be a neat little inclusion to the set. Now moving on to the main build, which is the house, and as you can see, it's mostly white with a gray roof as well as black shutters and a black door, and of course, American flag flying over the entrance. On the interior, you can see a table with the dinner that Bill makes, as well as on the left side, you can see some wine bottles. Then on the right are some black dressers, which are a part of my favorite play feature in this video, where you can swing them up, revealing the secret entrance to Bill's gun room. This room is obviously filled to the brim with guns. Then in the back, you can see a desk with a gun magazine on it and a gas mask underneath it. On the second floor, you can see a large brown piano on the left side, and although I'm very happy with how this piano turned out, it unfortunately did not leave much room for the bedroom on the right side. But anyway, that's about all for this set. So here's the set all together, and here's the box art that I made for this set. And since the truck was technically Bill's, here's a rendering of the last two sets in one. Well, that's about all for today's video. If you liked it, then make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And as always, make sure to leave any suggestions you have down in the comments. But that's about all I have for you guys today. Have a great day, and go build something awesome.